Wow.
It's more profound, I guess, to watch somebody else get out of it. Because for me, I mean, it's like I've been touched. I don't understand the whole rage about, oh, I was scratched. Okay, you got a scratch. I mean, it's not such a bad thing, is it really? I mean, if they did this, I think that's kind of cool. It doesn't bother me, you know. But to actually be physically touched is an incredible thing. When I was out at the Abbey in Colorado, a friend of mine, Tom, was out there, and he actually had, and I watched this happen, I watched a little boy jump on his back. Really? And what was super interesting to me was how Tom reacted to it, because as soon as I saw this little boy jump on his back, it was like a piggyback ride, Tom literally had to catch himself from falling over and put his hands down on both his knees and kind of leaned up against the wall, as if that ghost child had weight to him.
Huh.
And I thought that was fascinating. That was the same night that Jim Fliss had, I watched a little girl, well, he actually invited the ghost children there, and he's like, because he was bald, he said, I got a smooth head. If you want to come up and rub my head, you can rub my head. We're all sitting down on the floor. And I watched a little girl come through a door, and she went up to him and put her hands on both sides of his, on both cheeks, and gave him a nosy. How you rub noses with somebody?
Yeah. And
then she put her hand on top of his head, and he was getting a tingling sensation. He goes, "Oh, my cheeks are tingling," and and then this was happening. And now my head's tingling. And we took photos of it and captured a small handprint right on top of his head. So I mean, to have that physical interaction with spirits is so much more profound to me than a blurry photograph that may or may not be a spirit. A video even, of an object moving. That physical connection is incredible, absolutely incredible.
Wow. All right, Barbara.
Oh, I thought Jeff had a question.
Oh,
He was interrupted.
Not really. I was just trying to find the link for friggin' Sloss Furnace. I thought I had.
Gotcha.
Oh.
There's a question in chat, and Sherry wants to know if you've ever physically been attacked by a spirit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have. Which kind of has taught me how important it is to stay protected. And why today, when I investigate, I have my guides take the wheel, so to speak. Jesus, take the wheel, I've actually, the last time that I had a really bad occurrence, it was quite a strange experience where my body was taken over, and it was in a cemetery, and I was with a group, and as I was walking with this group, the further we went into the cemetery, the more irritated I got. I was angry. My arms were crossed. I started feeling almost like I had the flu. I didn't like any of those people. I was getting angry with the group because they were stepping on graves. Some of them were. And I started kind of lagging behind the group. Meanwhile, my friend Lacey White was taking pictures of everybody. And she noticed that I was dropped back, that I wasn't in the picture she was taking anymore. And of course, we're best friends, so she's trying to include me in the photos. And she noticed that I was back further, so she just kind of came over to check on me and see, make sure I was okay. And I wasn't okay at all. She was talking to me, and I couldn't understand a word she was saying. I was looking at her, but it was like she was talking in tongues or something. I mean, nothing she said made any sense to me whatsoever. And she asked me if I was okay. And when I responded to her, the same thing happened. She couldn't understand a word I was saying. So she called a couple of other members of our group over, and they saw my face change, and I didn't look like myself anymore. I started taking on a much more masculine face, and I mean, this was a pretty serious thing because I literally, this wasn't invited. I am a physical medium. I typically don't mind if a spirit wants to step in, like the old man did in the store. That was acceptable to me. That was wantonly and willingly giving it up. But this wasn't. This was actually, I was being forced, and that's not good. So I kind of lost my faculties. I mean, I couldn't speak. I wasn't even thinking for myself at that point. I don't even know where I was. I'm really, most of this story is based on what they told me. And the spirit had completely taken me over. They had to rush me out of the cemetery, and she put me in the car, and we drove down the road, and it took probably 5 minutes down the road until I felt like I was conscious again. Prior to that, I was in much more of a trance state, and didn't really know what happened. I mean, I 1 minute I was in the cemetery, and the next minute we were driving down the road. I'm like, what's going on? Where are we at? And she's like, she's driving the car and looking at me, driving the car and looking at me. She's like, are you okay? You feeling all right? I'm like, yeah, I think I am. I think I'm okay. What's going on?
Wondering what act of the horror film she's in.
Right, yeah, because she had never seen that happen to me before, where my physical features actually changed. And I told her the same thing I told my daughter-in-law. I said, when this stuff happens, you need to roll tape because I've never seen this and I want to see it happen. I mean, I joke about it when I'm on an investigation, and it's really kind of, I joke about it, but I seriously mean it. I mean, like if I'm stuck to the ceiling, you need to video that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, don't put me down. Get your phone out and start rolling tape because, I mean, I want to see this. When I drop, you can check on me.
We got one of the guests in the chat room here is Ghost Man. Apparently, he's been with you at some of the places. Do you know who Ghost Man is?
Ghost Man?
Yeah.
Does Ghost Man, can he type in his real name?
He could if he wanted to. I don't know if he just took that for a
Like your private chat to Henry or CC to let.
Oh, yeah. The other question in chat was if you've ever run into a vibration that was so dark it made you physically ill, and whether it was a living person or a dead person or a spirit.
Yes, living and dead, absolutely, and physically ill, absolutely. Without question. Throwing up, vomiting, headaches, nausea. I've been punched. I've had the wind knocked out of me. I mean, yeah, I've definitely, and again, it's those negative experiences that negate the protection that, I mean, I'm very eclectic in my protection. I mean, I do all kinds of crazy things. I carry crystals. I carry salt water. I mean, whatever. Anything I can carry with me that might be helpful. I mean, my bag's full. So it's, but I think that, spirit guides and the power of intent are the two most practical and important things that anybody can take with them. And I think if you go to a haunted location, I can't express it enough. Do not provoke. Please do not provoke. You might get a reaction, but you might not like the reaction you get.
Yes. Yeah. No, I've never.
If you go with respect, you're going to get.
That's the way I always go, is with respect. I treat them just like they used to be alive, and I only ask for nice things. And I've never had any real negative things happen to me, thank God. And that's why I don't mind doing it the right way.
Now
you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that, when I've had negative things happen, it's usually my own fault. I mean, I could see where it was my doing, not because I did anything, provoking necessarily, but I may have not included my guides, or I, like in the case with the cemetery, when my body was overtaken. I was there the night before, and my guides told me to stay by the tree. The closer I got to the tree by the entrance, the better I felt. The further into the cemetery I went, the higher my anxiety went. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to push myself, right? Face your fear, right? So even though I'm feeling this anxiety, I'm going to go ahead and push myself and go into this cemetery and follow the rest of the group. And then I physically felt somebody pushing on my chest. And it wasn't like a heavy thrust or anything. It was more like a friend telling you, no, come on, stay back. You don't want to get in there. You know, it was a loving, cautious pushback. But I could feel it, and I counted it. I counted how many times it happened. It happened exactly 9 times, and then it stopped. And it was interesting to me that, and I knew it was my guides. I knew my guides were, and that's where you got to learn to respect your guides too. You got to respect the answers they give you, even if you don't like them. And my guide was telling me, no, there's trouble in here. You don't want to be here. You know, stay back. Don't go in. And I didn't want to like be, you know, a scaredy cat. I mean, I'm not afraid. I want to face any fears or anxiety. You know, we can do this. We're going to be okay. And no, we weren't okay. You know, we weren't okay at all. We lost our faculties, for crying out loud. So, you know, you really gotta trust your instincts, right, and listen to your guides. So it's when I haven't listened that I've run into trouble. You know, it's not something that you can be real careless with, because not all ghosts are friendly. You know, there's some negative things out there, and if you don't know what you're getting into, you can get hurt. And you might be lucky, and it might just simply be a scratch, but it could be a lot worse. You know, I've heard horror stories of how people get attachments, and it affects their lives for long term, months, years down the road.
Wow.
You know,
now, so Ghost Man in the chat room said his name's Tom.
Yeah. Tom is the one that has a little boy jump on his back.
Oh, okay.
That I mentioned earlier. Yeah, he's been on. Yeah, he's seen quite a bit.
Yeah, he said the Abbey and said he was the horse.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He was given rides.
Now I know you said before that sometimes before you would go to places, some of the spirits might visit you and say anything. Did you get anything before doing the show tonight?
No, actually I didn't. I can't say that I wasn't full of the mundane prior to the show tonight, though, to be fair. Had I just been home and been able to meditate or do something like that, maybe perhaps something would have come through, but I was kind of wrapped up in our mundane world with a lot of other people around me, so
right.
I didn't really get a chance to do that. I did, however, definitely get interrupted by spirits, so I hope that somewhere along the line there that someone received the message that they were intended to hear, because it can be quite silly to me, you know, when spirit comes through like that. Mm-hmm. I had one time I was doing a paranormal speech, and my great-grandmother came in and stood behind me. And this is a woman that I have a lot of love and respect for. And she came up behind me, put her hands on my shoulders, and she said, "I'm so proud of you." So while I'm standing up on this stage, you know, talking to all these people, trying to be all professional, all of a sudden I just busted out in these emotional tears. They're just falling down like rain. And I'm like, "I'm sorry, my grandma's here." So, I mean, you know, and it was, you know, I mean, it was like kind of like going to, like one of those dreams that you have, and
right.
You're in school with no clothes on or something. It was so embarrassing at the time, but at the same time, it was such a welcome gift, you know. It was like, "Grandma, you picked the wrong time, but thank you."
Wow. Well, we're down to
so yeah, you never know.
We're down just about 12 minutes before we have to start wrapping up. Barbara, you got questions still?